Hello everybody, 64 Studios 101
And
here.
Fan12 here too.
So a few months back we recorded a commentary for Chef Clownman episode 1, Chef Clownman You're
And we
Hired.
just uploaded that just now.
Yeah, but we decided after viewing it that we should do
More commentaries.
yeah, so here we go with Johnson's job interview. A bit of a step up in quality from the first episode, though it shares a lot with the first episode.
Yeah, still not what Clownman would become, but it's a step up.
So, again, of course, the same intro.
It still is as good as ever.
I mean...
Man, Chef Clownman, yeah. It's like really simple tune, but it's catchy.
I must have composed that a while back.
Yeah, but anyway, this thing, because... For a lot of it, for most episodes since this episode, a few files, a few parts of the video I have to export separately, then re-export, making it slightly worse quality. Unfortunately, the intro was one of them I did that way here, and I really regret that, but I don't think it's too noticeable.
So another one that we collaborated on.
Nowadays I take that coffee down.
There's Johnson with his keep calm and annoyed clown shirt.
Avoid clowns.
Avoid.
Yeah, and then there are a bunch of really silly cartoony sound effects. I know that's a bit cartoony, but it works well. And then I like the way he's watching him from a distance, and they're talking once again. We have to record okay, that's not very good animation. Well, it's okay animation, but that's great.
Yeah, that smear when Clownman comes in looks really good.
Really good, yeah.
So
then they're talking, and so basically Clownman saying, "Oh, you're unemployed." He doesn't actually mean that as an insult, obviously, but
Clownman doesn't know how to insult.
But that makes Johnson's annoyed, and he's like, "Wait a minute, I have to get a job setting up for the episode."
Yeah, so it's a bit like Chef Clownman You're Hired, because it's the same in that where Clownman is trying to get a job, here Johnson is.
One of the differences, of course, is in Chef Clownman You're Hired, Johnson sort of works against Clownman, whereas here Clownman's working for Johnson.
Yeah.
That's the primary difference, I suppose.
And I think the writing quality and the music is better in this.
Of course it is.
Though, this is the only episode to date, currently, that I don't have a speaking part in.
Yeah. Nowadays, I think you should have played that guy on TV who comes up in a few seconds, but it's probably my fault.
It doesn't matter. Maybe I was away somewhere. I can't remember the stuff.
Who knows?
Alright.
Okay, and then
here's the TV
screen. I feel like nowadays I'd make it a scene from the Meat Rangers, but here it's just a generic soap opera parody.
Wasn't that filmed on like an iPod?
Yeah, it was filmed with an iPod Touch to make it slightly worse quality than it would be if filmed on camera. Nowadays, I think I just apply a filter on Microsoft Word, but it works. And I do like how there's just a job offer, a bunch of job offer signs there. Like, everybody's really bad at making commercials, and...
So there's a Diet Dr. Cola reference, as well as it says 64 Studios and Lost Dog. I do hope whoever lost the dog finds it.
And get money. No doubt some sort of scam. Anyway, so yeah, I sort of like the scene where Johnson just sort of... I can't really see it in an episode now, but I still like it. Johnson just talking about, like, oh, teacher, no. I really need someone smart.
Bus driver, well, no.
Yeah, anyway, then there's another one of those pointless flashback sequences that doesn't really serve any point, but still is funny.
Everything is just reused for her.
Yeah,
it was filmed from other stuff other stuff.
Yeah, well, one of the things will be used later in the episode. The other things were from Chef Clownman You're Hired.
But they all were filmed not for this scene.
Yeah.
So.
Because even though some of them would appear later, we filmed the stuff out of sequence.
Yeah, it's.
We record it in sequence, but film it out of sequence. But anyway, yeah. So Johnson's thinking more about, oh no, I can't get Clownman for help because he's Clownman.
Yeah, because he's an idiot. Well, he's not really, but that's what Johnson probably thinks.
Probably.
Especially at this point when he's not quite as nice as he later gets.
Okay, and then Clownman comes in, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he jumps again.
Jump looks
basically reused, sort of a lot like in Chef Clownman You're Hired after he finds out Clownman's at the town cafe, but it works.
Unfortunately, on the bottom, you can see a bit of the table.
Yeah, unfortunately. It's more noticeable than I'd like, but...
You think you would zoom in on it now?
Probably.
I mean, it is just talking, which is a couple frames.
Yeah. I mean, later on, Clownman lifts his arm, but that's still not much. And I even forget a frame in that sequence, so it's not very...
So, yeah, this episode is very wordy.
Yeah, not much in the way of, other stuff.
Yeah, so
I wouldn't say action because there's not really any action in the episode of Cloudman, but anyway, yeah, that arm movement, because I missed the frame, it doesn't look the best, but it works.
hey, I had a cough when I was recording the other commentary also. So is that an almond? Anyway, so
yeah, they're talking.
There's a lot of talking in this episode,
which makes it a bit
for
harder
better or for worse.
Yeah, it makes it hard to record a commentary for one thing because you watch it without the sound.
Yeah.
Anyway, I like this scene. I know the fact that the recycle bin is done on a slide instead of a background. That sort of makes you know that it's gonna have something to do with the scene. But
it's okay.
yeah, it's okay. And of course, Johnson is in his suit now.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, that with the
great.
mirror, it looks pretty nice.
And then also, but in particular, it's coming in a second. Okay, talking. Okay, yeah, that's great animation in my opinion. Unfortunately, you see a bit of hat as the recycled bin moves. But anyway, yeah.
The saluting has been reused.
Oh, and I've always loved this.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great animation here.
Unfortunately,
shaving cream, not the most, but other than when he's shaving, it's not the best. But other than that, that's great. And also, his arm has a really bad scale compared to the rest of him in those close-ups. But I think it works.
Looks pretty nice. Okay, Seymour talking.
Yeah,
this music is up.
Yeah,
okay.
This is good.
Yeah.
See, anyway, when Clownman's like, "You have a spot on your shirt," he's like, "No, I don't."
No, I don't.
Of course he does, even though it's impossible to tell without a magnifying glass.
Don't ask me. Maybe Clownman just has superpowers or something.
Yeah.
Though some later episodes would make it seem that isn't true.
So a lot of later episodes make it seem like he does have superpowers. Freezing fun, which
I was referring.
Oh, right. But for instance. Okay, then they move position randomly because of what I filmed, but it works. And they move position again.
I remember, especially at the time, I really liked that background. Okay, there we go, the toothpaste.
Yeah. Yeah, I love.
I love the magnifying glass.
I know it's probably annoying just hearing us talking about, we love what we did. Yeah, but it's not like they love everything. The story itself is just okay. It was good enough.
Yeah, it's not the best.
But it works well enough, I think.
It's probably Johnson's boss. Johnson's boss is later to be named Mr. Worksworth, and he is a good character.
Yeah.
Perhaps, definitely better than Clownman's boss.
Yeah, who doesn't really have a character. Well, maybe sometimes he's sort of kind of strict, but I don't know. But anyway,
we haven't seen much of him anyway.
Yeah, but anyway, Johnson's boss like, it took me a bit to figure out the voice of Mr. Worksworth, even though he wasn't called that. I'm still going to call him that now.
Yeah,
anyway, it took me a bit to figure out his voice, but I had the general idea from the start.
I like this background, and later when you see Johnson's office, I like how Johnson obviously isn't the boss, so his office is smaller.
Yeah. And more talking.
So
I like his questions, particularly the "What's your favorite sports team?" 64 Studios 101 wrote that, not me.
I had a fun time writing this.
Well, we both threw a good amount, of course, of the script, but that particular.
I think this you might have written slightly more of.
Possibly, I don't really
maybe. I feel like maybe, I don't know.
That could well be, but anyway. Okay, and I like that animation. Nowadays I might make it slightly faster, but no, it looks good. I think it looks fun.
And he's really a parody of the really big, gigantic sports fan who's just obsessed with sports.
Yeah.
Mr. Worksworth is.
That's animation. I really liked it at the time. Nowadays I think it looks sort of bad, but it works well enough, I guess. I'd make it better now, though.
Yeah, so he's just working in
the
scene, which I think is quite
good. It's quite good, and it just keeps... And I like how we have customized tile cards for each episode, like 2 hours later or whatever. It's different for each episode.
The
pencil is really bad in that particular one.
I don't blame you for not wanting to redraw that.
Yeah. Okay, and...
If you look closely, you can see a bit of pin drawn on. So, Mr. Worksworth...
When you notice in this episode, throughout the episode, whenever he walks, his mouth goes from smiling to frowning.
Okay, now, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Apparently
the
it was around
logo on the
67. Next year turns 50 years old. But
the Town Cafe logo, I hadn't quite think. Well, it looks good. But
I reminiscent of the Chef Clownman hired scene.
But I like it more here. It's better.
Where Johnson discovers Clownman's working there.
It's a nice little piece of animation as well.
So, there's about to be some music that comes up.
Yes.
That is like my horror music. That's
it's called the Chef Clownman horror theme, right?
It shall be used again. But anyway, I feel like the music a step up from the last one.
Yeah,
This is a parody of horror.
Yeah, I also love how it keeps zooming in on Clownman's face each time that it zooms on
If
Johnson.
you notice, the rug and the picture are now slides here.
Yeah, if looking back, I should have filmed this as a background. Then when the things move, I do that, and it slides so well.
I think the scene is funny. There's a scene reminiscent of it in the safe.
I can't decide what. Well, probably. Well, no, they're both funny. I can't decide which one is funnier.
Bit reminiscent of it in the safe, certainly. So, okay.
Talking.
Talking.
Okay, and that's not very good animation. Well, it's mostly his beard, his stubble. That's the problem, but it works well.
Yeah.
And that does look good, though.
I like it how everywhere he just has his meter
stuff.
He's the
that looks good
fan.
too, but yeah, meter. Yeah, and I love how he just has a compartment under his rug.
Don't ask me how Johnson was able to stand on it earlier.
Yeah. I don't know.
So this is Johnson asking him for a raise.
And then he gets the safe. Oh, the safe looks so bad compared to the one in the safe. It's so messy looking.
It's because we have really small silver paint.
Yeah, the dial looks a bit messy too. But and then that looks good.
Yeah, it really does.
That looks good too. Okay, I know it's probably annoying hearing me be like, oh, that. And also, yeah, the switch from just regular footage to pre-exported footage in the middle of a scene, which is a terrible thing to do. Well.
I like how everyone's like, ooh, that spot, that hair, that was used
another
for
example is
meters.
just sort of a parody of fans in general, like how he's able to immediately recognize a dollar bill and be like, oh, that one was used to build the stadium or whatever. And yeah, this is one of the first of many episodes to end with a close-up of Johnston saying something, basically as an aside to the audience. Yeah, but it didn't.
Alright, so this is
an aside
now the credits are how they are currently. They were different in the first one. Comic scene's a mess and everything.
And it actually looks good now, thankfully.
I was involved in this somewhat because I originally wrote this one as a comic, didn't I?
You did, yes.
I sort of grouped it together with Chef Clownman You're Hired, but...
Yeah, and your comic version had some differences, like, in that one, Clownman was Johnson's boss.
Yeah, Clownman is hired as Johnson's boss. So, I don't know what I was thinking exactly. Anyway.
Yeah, this is definitely an improvement in the episode. It's an improvement over both your comic version and of Chef Clownman You're Hired. We improve further in the next few episodes, but this is definitely a step up.
More on that as we do commentaries on the next episodes. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and more commentaries to come soon. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.